Denim is a huge trend right now, so why not make it spectacular?
Remember me, I remember you. I've been thinking about you more than ever.
Hello, welcome to The Stylish Maker. My name's Carol. A little while ago, I wore this denim jacket on a video, and I was asked by one of my viewers where I bought it. And I told her that I didn't buy it. Well, I bought the jacket, but then I embellished it with this beautiful fabric. And so she asked me if I would do a video on how I did this. So that is what I'm going to be sharing with you today, how I made my beautiful denim jacket. I'm going to be making another one today with some beautiful pink on it, and I'm going to walk you step by step through what I did. Now, this is a little bit of a departure from what I usually do, my jewelry making tutorials, but I hope that you'll stick with me to the end, and I will talk about the jewelry I'm wearing and all of that sort of stuff as well. So let's get started. First, you're going to need a denim jacket. Now, I bought this one at Kmart for about 35 New Zealand dollars, so it wasn't expensive at all. I did want to make sure that it fit me really well because I don't like oversized denim jackets. They kind of swamp me. So for me, getting that fit right was really, really important. And then I chose my fabric. Now, this fabric I actually had in my stash. I bought it, gosh, 3 or 4 years ago now for a party dress, and this little bit was left over. The piece that I'm going to be using today is a pink piece, and I bought it down at the local emporium, so I cannot link to it. But this fabric is quite common, and I'm sure you'll be able to find it where you live. So those are all the materials you need. Of course, you'll need thread as well. You will need some paper and some pencils and some rulers, and that's it. And of course, your sewing machine and some thread. I said thread, didn't I? Okay, the first thing we're going to do is make a pattern. And I hung my denim jacket over the end of my ironing board because this gave me really, really good access to my front yoke. And what I did was I laid my paper on top and I took my pencil and I just drew over the seam lines, and they're quite easy to feel. You'll see here I'm running my fingers over the lines so that I could feel where those lines were. And then I just drew over them. So I made a rough pattern.
Take me back to when we were kids and didn't care if we were acting stupid, 'cause all we had.
Next, I wanted to measure the back, and I marked the center with a pin. So I'm going to do this on the bottom of the yoke, and I'm going to do it on the top of the yoke around the neckline. I'm going from the shoulder seam, and notice that I'm holding my tape measure on its edge, and this makes it easier to measure around a curve. So I'm going to pin where the center of the neckline is as well, and this we'll use later. And now I'm going to draw the pattern in the same way as I did for the front. I'm just lining that edge of the paper up with those two pins, and I'm making sure that I know that it is the center back.
Remember me, I remember you. I've been thinking about you more than ever. I guess I'm lonely, I'm starting to grow old, and I thought my youth would last forever. Take me back to when we were kids and didn't care if we were acting stupid, 'cause all we had was us. If I close my eyes and think about us, I can see the person I know I should be. 'Cause honestly, I don't have no time to waste. I'm trying to come back to you because now.
And there's my pattern. Next, I'm measuring my armhole so that I can double check that I have my pattern right. Now I'm going to draw my lines properly with a ruler, and I'm going to freehand the curves or use my curved ruler. If you don't have a curved ruler, that's fine, just freehand it. This is just making sure that your pattern is easy to cut out. You can see here I'm freehanding around the neckline. So now we have our pattern, the next thing we need to do is add our seam allowance to the pattern. Now I did add 1 centimetre seam allowance here. I do suggest though, if this is the first time you've done this, I would suggest that you add some extra seam allowance around the neckline, simply because you may not get it completely right the first time. So what I'm doing here is I'm marking a dot at 1 centimetre from my seam allowance and just drawing a line to connect those 1 centimetre dots. Around the curves, make sure you do a few more dots so that you get it nice and accurate.
I wish I had a little more time with you, baby. Time to figure out what this could be. I dreamt of a life in a small town that wasn't enough for you somehow. I just wish I had a little more time with you, baby. Weeks and months and years they passed, and I knew it wouldn't last when tears streamed down my face.
Now you want to mark on the pieces, that's the front and the back, and I'm also writing here that I need to cut 2, and then I'm going to cut out my pattern.
And the pain that you're feeling gradually fades away, 'cause growing up, falling in love, giving your all might not be enough. Just trust your head and your heart, that's what my mama said. I wish I could freeze this moment, just never let it end. Walking through the snow when you're taking my hand. All of those late nights on your couch.
And just repeat the same process for the back, and remember, if you need to, make those seam allowances slightly larger around the neck to give you some wiggle room.
Weeks and months and years they passed, and I knew it wouldn't last when tears streamed down my face. My mama said all the nights that end in hope.
Make sure that you mark the centre back is cut on a fold. Now that we have our pattern all completed with its seam allowances, next we're going to cut out our fabric. So I folded my fabric in half so that I have a fold to put my back onto. So make sure you put the fold on the fold of the fabric and just pin it on.
Hey, I wish you could see yourself just sitting there on my chair. I'm staring at you, you don't even notice. Should've told you straight away.
Now we're just going to cut out the fabric. Remember, of course, if you want to add that extra seam allowance around the neck, now is the time to do that.
Straight away. You don't have to be afraid anymore. I know you haven't noticed. You'll know. You'll know that I won't let you go. Put your arms around me and I'll let you know how it feels when time goes slow. And
I'm just making sure I mark the centre back with some pins so that I can match those pins up with the pins on my jacket.
time goes slow. I fall into you.
And now I'm putting my right sides together at the yoke seam or the shoulder seam and just pinning a centimetre seam allowance.
Hey, I wish I
And I'm going to sew that now. Remember to backstitch.
and that's what I adore. Should've told you straight away everything I have to say, but I'm afraid, and I know you haven't noticed. You know.
And just repeat that for the other side. Next, we're going to press our seams open. Now this is really important because you want them to lie nice and flat over the seam of your jacket. I also press it from the right side as well, just to make sure everything's nice and flat. Now, for some reason I didn't film this next step, but what you are going to do is you're going to use a longer stitch length than normal, and you're going to tack along your seam lines. And the reason for doing this is A, so that you get a nice sharp press, and B, so that you know where to stop clipping when you clip around your neck. So here I'm just pressing up the seam allowance on the bottom, and I'm going to do this all the way around the jacket, except for the neckline. And here I'm just kind of pushing those seam allowances into the corner so that they are nice and neat. So just tuck all those ends in, and I'm doing that with the help of a pin. Now I'm matching my centers, so the pins that I put at the center of my back yoke are going into the same place as the pins I put in the center of my jacket yoke. And now I'm just going to pin it all the way around, but I'm not going to do the neckline just yet. I'm just interrupting quickly to tell you about the jewelry I'm wearing today. The necklace is a butterfly and leaf necklace I made probably about a year ago, and the earrings I made in a short. So I will leave you links for both of those things in the description box below. I will also leave you a link to a blog post all about how I did this. So make sure you go and check that out, and that link will be down there as well. Now we're going to clip our neckline, and we just clip in to where the stitching is, but if this is the first time you've done it, I would fold it and get a sense for where it's going to be, just to make sure that you don't clip too far. So once you've done that, your stitching line may not be in the right place, and that's okay if this is the first time. What you just need to do is make sure you clip to the stitch line of your jacket. You'll see it, you'll fold it in, and you'll go, okay, I need to clip it to there. And the reason we're clipping the curve is so that it sits nice and flat. My jacket had some really yucky stitching on the front, so it was a good thing that I was covering it up. I want to make sure that my points of my new yoke meet my points of my old yoke, and that's what it looks like now. Now we've got it all pinned on, we are going to stitch it. And to do this, I used my top stitch foot. And the reason for that is it gives me a nice guide so that my stitching stays an equal distance from the edge of my fabric. I also moved my needle position as far to the left as it could go. I'm actually running the top stitch foot between the two lines of fabric. So it's going between the collar and the new yoke, but my stitching is on the yoke.
Starting to grow old, and I thought my youth would last forever. Take me back to when we were kids and didn't care if we were.
When you get to the corner, make sure you put your needle down, turn your fabric, and carry on. Now there is a little trick to getting around your buttons, so I'll talk to you about that shortly. I would really like to invite you to sign up for my newsletter so that you get an email every single time I upload a new video. That way you won't ever miss anything. Now, to do this, what you need to do is click the link below to go to the Style Makers Network and sign up for my jewelry tutorials. I hope you do that, and I hope I will be emailing you soon. I promise I won't spam you.
Where are you now? Heard you live far away, but just tell me where and I'll come see ya. 'Cause I'm afraid that I'll end up here alone. Hope you'll understand how much I need ya. Take me back to when we were kids and didn't care if we were acting stupid, 'cause all we had was us. If I close my eyes and think about us, I can see the person I know I should be. 'Cause honestly, I don't have no time to waste. I'm trying to come back to you because now I see.
So when I got to this point, the button was going to be in the way. I couldn't get my machine foot up beside the button. So I went as far as I could, kind of pushing the button out of the way. And then I took it out of the machine and I took my foot off and I replaced it with my zipper foot. Then I moved my needle all the way to the right and I moved my foot so that it was on the left-hand side of the stitching. And that allowed me to get past the button with no trouble at all. It's a bit thick, so sometimes you might have to give it a little bit of a tug from the back. Now just trim your threads, take out your pins, and you're done. Now this is the jacket that I have on today, the purple one. Now you'll notice that I also embellished the collar on this one, and I did it using exactly the same process. And here's the pink one we made today. I decided not to embellish the collar of this one because I thought it was a little overpowering, but I did enjoy making it. This was a little bit of a different video for me today. As you know, I usually make jewelry tutorials. So let me know in the comment section if you would like to see more of this type of thing on my channel. I am a serial embellisher and alterer, yeah, I think that's a word. I tend to see something online that I like and I decide I want to make it, and I think, okay, I can make that with this pattern, but I have to change it completely. Sometimes that ends in tears, not often, but sometimes it does. So let me know if you would like to see more of this type of thing down there. Thank you so much for watching today. Have a wonderful day. Remember to follow me on Instagram and Facebook as well, and I will see you next week.